Hello everybody, my name's Nerdy Lover and welcome back to our football betting series here on YouTube. Other edition, normally European edition, but we are going into the Carabao Cup knockout rounds now. Let's quickly recap some of our games from the midweek matches in Europe before we get ahead to the next set of midweek matches in the English Carabao Cup. On the 1st of November, Marseille plays Spurs, and despite taking the lead, Spurs did manage to fight their way back to pick up our £8.80. On the 2nd, we did just have the one selection, Shakhtar Red Bull Leipzig, and Red Bull Leipzig picked up £14.20 there. We continued our winning streak early on, as Manchester United managed to hold off Sociedad and pick up our £7.14 in that one. Feyenoord did unfortunately beat Lazio, so we did take a £20 hit there, but that was the only loss we would suffer, as later on in the night, Fenerbahce beat Kiev for our £16.20, and Anderlecht managed to beat Schalkeborg, and although we only put a half stake on, we did pick up £19.80. So across the early bit of November so far, we are on a 83% success rate. We managed to make a profit of £46.14 across those 6 bets, or 2¼ units, so not too bad at all. Without further ado, let's jump into the Carabao Cup predictions for this midweek, the 8th through the 10th of November. We kick things off here as Bristol City host Lincoln City, and Bristol City secured a draw last time out in their match against Middlesbrough. Unfortunately, Bristol could not take advantage of a fellow struggling side, and they are winless in each of their last 4 league fixtures. Only good enough for 16th place in the Championship and just 3 points clear of the relegation zone. The Robins average 1.4 goals per game from 1.5 key chances per 90, so they're pretty consistent in terms of putting away their chances. Defensively, they do concede at a rate of 1.4 goals per game, with 5 clean sheets in their 20 matches. Lincoln, the visitors today, will come into this game following a big upset in the FA Cup first round at the hands of Chippenham Town. They lost to the National League side by 1-0 in what was probably the biggest upset of the round. Lincoln City's league form is not terrible, but inconsistent, would probably be the right word for them. 5 wins, 7 draws and 4 defeats, good enough for 13th in League One. The Imps do score 1.1 goals per game from 1.3 key chances per 90, and defensively, it's about even to their goal output of 1.2 goals against. There's no head-to-head record to go off, so we need to make a judgment from the stats above. So what I'm going to say is that Bristol are scoring and creating more against opposition in a division above Lincoln City, with their home crowd behind them and 21 league places being the difference between the two sides. I like the Robins' chances here to pick up a win. We'll be taking Bristol City to win in a single on our first match here. Next up, we have Burnley hosting Crawley, and Burnley come into this game following their heavy 5-2 defeat at the hands of Sheffield United. This result did put an end to their 4-game winning streak and an unbelievable 17-game unbeaten run. Despite this loss, Burnley are still top of the Championship and 2 points clear of Blackburn Rovers. They do average 1.9 goals per game from 2 key chances created. Defensively is pretty good as well, 1.1 goals against. Burnley are also unbeaten at home, Turf Moor, through 10 games this season, with 6 wins, 4 draws, and of course 0 defeats. Crawley come into this game following their 4-1 loss against Accrington in the first round of the FA Cup. This means they are winless in their last 3 and have not kept a clean sheet in each of their last 15 consecutive league matches. This form is only good enough for 19th place in League 2 and just 2 points clear of the drop out of the Football League. Crawley average 1.1 goals per game from 0.9 key chances created, so they're actually outperforming their expected goals rate. Their defence is pretty poor though, 1.8 goals against, and just 1 clean sheet in their 16 league fixtures so far, or 6% of matches if that's more helpful. Burnley are nailed on for a win here, and it looks like they're about a 1-4 shot. I do like Burnley to win by a couple of goals here, so when the market opens, I'll be taking them as a -1 on the Asian handicap. I'm expecting or perhaps hoping that the odds will come out at about 1-2 or 1.6 on the exchange. Next up, Nottingham Forest host Spurs in a Premier League clash here. Nottingham would have been given a boost following their 96th minute equaliser last time out against Brentford. That game finished 2 goals apiece in the end. This point was not enough for Forest to lift themselves from the foot of the table, so they are still 20th place in the Premier League coming into this game. And it's not too hard to see why. 0.7 goals per game from 1.6 key chances, so they're not finishing their chances. Defensively, they are conceding 3 times as much as they are scoring, 2.1 goals against with just the 3 clean sheets in 14 games so far. You'd imagine that Spurs would have an easier task on their hands compared to the match against Liverpool at the weekend. Spurs are still doing pretty well as they do score lots of goals in their hope to chase Arsenal and Man City in 3rd place in the Premier League. Spurs do score 2 goals per game from 1.9 key chances created. Defensively, they could do with a little bit of improvement, 1.2 goals against, but they should have enough here to score a few against Forest in this game. When we look at the head-to-head record, we of course know these sides already faced each other in league action already at the Forest ground, with Spurs winning by 2-0 with Harry Kane netting twice. Tottenham are away from home in this cup match at odds of about 9 to 10. I think it's decent value. We'll take Spurs to win on the road here and in a repeat performance of their league victory just a couple months ago. Our 4th selection sees Wolves versus Leeds, and Wolves' poor form continues as they did lose by 3 goals to 2 against Brighton on the Saturday, as they did play the entire second half with just 10 men following Nelson Semedo's sending off. Wolves have no wins in their last 4 and 3 defeats over this sample. It's pretty worrying as they do see themselves in 19th place, but perhaps not surprising when we look at some of the statistics. Wolves do average the league's worst 0.6 goals per game with 1.3 key chances created per 90, so they're squandering about half of their key chances. Defence is not good, 1.6 goals against, and it's kind of what we expect from a side in the relegation zone. Wolves are starting to score some more goals now, though. They have netted in 3 of their last 4, following a lengthy barren streak. Leeds are the visitors in this game following their remarkable comeback against Bournemouth. Despite taking a first-minute lead thanks to a Rodrigo penalty, they found themselves 3-1 down early doors in the second half, and they did come back to win by 4 goals to 3. Leeds have now won each of their last 2 matches, which have pulled themselves up the division to the heady heights of 12th place. They do score and concede quite a lot, and they're always on my mind for both teams to score all over 2.5 goals. Actually, both of these results have come in each of the last 3 games. Statistically, Leeds average 1.5 goals per game from 2.2 key chances created. Defence is slightly worse, however, 1.7 goals against, and only the 2 clean sheets in 13 games. When we look at the head-to-head record, Leeds won both games last year and both teams scored as well. Wolves are without a clean sheet in each of their last 3 encounters, and Leeds have failed to keep a clean sheet against Wolves in each of their last 8. My angle here is both teams to score, as I don't trust either side's defence, in our 4th selection. There we have it, 5 selections for the midweek, and we start things off with Bristol City versus Lincoln. We're going to be taking Bristol to win at home, odds of 0.68, £20 stake to return 13.60. Elsewhere, we're going to be taking Burnley against Crawley. We'll see if the odds come out right on this one. If we can get Burnley at -1 on the Asian handicap at about 1 to 2, we'll be taking a full stake to win 10. If not, we just will void the bet and we won't be taking that selection. On the following day, the Wednesday, we have Premier League encounters as Forest play Spurs. We're going to think that Spurs can replicate their victory earlier in the season by winning away from home. £20 stake to return 24. Elsewhere, Wolves versus Leeds, we fancy both teams to score. Odds of 0.68, £20 stake to return 13.60. And wrapping things up, Man United at Old Trafford against Aston Villa. Odds of 0.61, £20 stake to return 12.20. So, across the midweek, we could be risking up to £100 depending on the Burnley game, and we could be hopefully trying to win up to 69.80. Will we do so? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to tune into next episode. But if you did make it to this point in the video, please drop a like down below. My name's been Nerdy Lover, and as always, have yourself a lovely day.